Ladies and gentlemen, my guest at this time is an actress and a reality TV star. You know her from Walk of Love Season 2. And she was one of my favorite contestants, by the way. I'm joined with Jessica Kinni right now. Good evening, Jessica.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm doing real good, and thank you for being on the show this evening.
Absolutely.
All right, so Jessica, if you don't mind, I want to ask you a couple of questions about your Walk of Love experience.
I will do my best to answer those questions. It's all quite a blur.
Well, okay, well, I don't have too many of those, so no worries. All right,
Okay.
so let's go back to where it all started. Talk about the experience. How did you heard of the show, and you have any memories, anything particular about the show?
Okay, well, let's see. When I did Rock of Love, I was actually running VIP for a nightclub, and they were having a casting at my nightclub. And I was helping them find girls for the casting, and they asked me to go in. And I said, no, absolutely not. I cannot go on a dating show. At that time, they don't even tell you. I mean, this is back in the day. They don't even tell you who the guy is you're competing for. So I was like, I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. There's no way I can do this. And they kept calling, so I went in and I taped an audition, and then they asked me to be on the show, and they told me who it was, and I was like, well, heck yeah, sounds like a blast. And then, everything else is, documented on television, but, it was a great time. I actually am still friends with a lot of the girls, and everybody's pretty wild, so, we always have fun together.
Now, what was your thoughts on Bret Michaels before it all started, and what's your thoughts on Bret Michaels after it all happened?
Well, I'm from Arizona, and I had actually seen Brett out in Arizona because he has a house out there, and he, has a reputation of being a really good guy. But you don't know until you really get to know somebody how they are. I would say that I don't even think reality TV does him justice. He's such a genuine, kind person. He's just such a cool guy. He's the kind of guy you'd watch football with on a Sunday afternoon and drink some beer. I mean, he's of course, all people on stage and, in entertainment and in music especially are, have big personalities on stage. But when you're just one-on-one with somebody, it's totally different. And he's just very genuine. And, I can't say anything negative about him. I sometimes wish I could think of something. I guess the only negative would be that, he's hard to pin down.
There's a lot of saying when it comes to the reality shows, like who's will and who's not, as far as the contestants. You, my friend, are will as it gets. You are nice. You're a sweetheart. You didn't get into trouble. You didn't get into confrontations with the girls. You just stay in your lane.
Yep.
You're good in my book. You're good in my book.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, well, it's one of those things where, you've got to go on there and do whatever you got to do, but you've got to be yourself because at the end of the day, you're only accountable to yourself. And, people will either love you or hate you regardless. So I think that the only real option is to just, put it out there and see what happens.
Now, do you see yourself maybe going into another reality show in the future?
I have been asked many times about that. So far, I haven't found any projects in reality television that have really, that I thought were, right for me. I think if something came along that I was really interested in, I would do it. But, since I've done Rock of Love, and then I've done Charm School, and I've done a bunch of hosting for VH1, it's hard. And, reality TV these days is totally, it's even more wild than it was, for Rock of Love. It's just so out there that I watch it and I get anxiety. So I don't know if I could participate again. I'm more going mainstream these days. So, but anything is possible.
For those who just tuning in, I have actress and reality TV star Jessica Kinni right here on Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C. This is Kenny C speaking. Thank you for those that are listening. Now, let's fast forward into now. You're focusing on being an actress. Talk a little bit about that, and what have you been doing since the show have ended?
Well, actually, it's really funny. I just found out today that a film I worked on which has just been put on IMDb, yay, you can check it out now, it's Googleable, called Shifting, has started to make the rounds and is going through the film festival circuit, and I play a crazy person, so I'm very proud of that. If you know me, it's my total polar opposite. But I've been keeping really busy these days. I'm really into comedy. I work on a show called Jimmy Kimmel pretty frequently. It's a late-night talk show, and they do a lot of sketch comedy. I've just been having a lot of fun with stuff like that. And I've also been doing modeling. If anybody's familiar with the TV show Gossip Girl, I model their clothing line for Warner Brothers. So, just kind of all over the place. In this world, you just never know what direction you're going to go down, and you got to be ready for anything.
All right. So, do you have any projects in the works? Any upcoming stuff you're working on?
Yeah, currently I'm going to get ready to start a new web series that is being done by a big producer, but I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. But if you keep up with me on the internet or anything, in about a month you'll find out some information on that. I'm also very active in a trading card company called Benchwarmer, and anybody who knows about Benchwarmer, it's similar to like baseball cards or any collectibles, but instead there's attractive women. So I have a line of Benchwarmer cards that are all launching right now, so you can check out those. And I'm basically modeling full-time, and you can catch me on Jimmy Kimmel here and there, and, it's a new project all the time.
So, was it, Jimmy Kimmel, considering he has one of the top-rated late-night shows, was it like being on that show with Jimmy?
It is so much fun. It's very similar to like any kind of sketch comedy show, like a Saturday Night Live or one of those, because they're all these cute, funny, quirky shorts, and you're always a different character. You get to have a good time, and it's you never know, because it's always like what's popping up in the news. So you kind of find out the information the day of, and you just kind of wing it and have fun with it. You can't have much more fun than that. It's just a fast-paced, atmosphere. And Jimmy is brilliant. I mean, the man is just so funny and professional and such a cool guy. It's a great team.
Oh, I'm definitely a fan of Kimmel. He's definitely a hilarious dude. I watch his shows every now and then. It's pretty late out here on the East Coast, but I do what I can to watch it. And he does a remarkable job.
He sure does.
You can follow Jessica on Twitter at Jessica Kinni. That's Kinni. And not sure if people notice or not, but my first name and your last name's kind of pronounced the same way, it's spelled
Yep,
differently.
I was actually really impressed that you said my last name correctly, because usually people say Kinni or this or that, but it was like perfect. And, we could get married, and then you could take my last name, and it would be Kenny Kinney. So think about it.
Okay.
I'm throwing it out there.
Oh, yeah, I'll definitely take that into consideration. Definitely. I don't know if I can hang with the name Kenny, but, we'll work it out. We'll definitely
All right, we'll work something out.
So, when you look back and everything you've done and everything you accomplished, you know how reality TV stars, they do these shows, and then after the show ended, they're never hear from again. But you, on the other hand, you keep on pushing, you keep on working, you keep on pursuing your dreams and everything, and I give you a lot of credit for doing so. It's great to see, people like you, that comes out of that reality TV, and they're still doing their thing, not just sticking to reality TV, because anyone could do reality TV, but when you do it outside of it, people, you just never see them or hear from again. So kudos to you, Jessica, and again, I give you a lot of credit on that.
Thank you, Kenny. I really appreciate it. And, one thing I have to say is that I'm a big person on just, going for whatever it is you want. You just got to go for it. We get one shot, and we are always just accountable to ourselves. And, if you want something bad enough, I really believe that people can make anything happen. And, sometimes it's an uphill battle, but sometimes, those rewards at the end are great and they're worth the fight. So I tell anybody who's, trying to figure their life out or is going through a struggle, just keep, the only way out is through, and, stay positive and keep making your dreams happen. That's the only way to get there.
Okay, I got a question in the room from my friend Andrew Brownie Master.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if you are a basketball fan or not, considering there's a basketball game in progress right now. But I'm guessing he wants to know who you got between Boston and Miami.
My dad and my little sister live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, so I've got to go with the Heat.
And I'm trying to look at...
And they're not listening right now because they're watching the game, so there you go.
And the last time I checked, Boston is up, but it's only almost the end of the first half. It's now 49-40 Boston with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go before halftime. Luckily, there's another half to go if you're a Heat fan, but we shall see.
And they don't let me tune in. I tune in for about the last 2 minutes of the game because otherwise I don't know, I don't want to jinx anybody. I got to stay out of it and just...
Understandable. So, other than Walk of Love, what are some of your favorite TV shows?
My favorite TV shows? Oh, geez, I'm such a geek. I'm a huge fan of a show on the BBC called Doctor Who. It's a sci-fi show, and it's amazing. It's so good because, like I said, I'm a geek, and it's a big science-based show, and it's so much fun. But I also, on HBO, love Game of Thrones. So if anybody watches that, it's like the ultimate. It's so good. So those are my two shows.
I'm definitely familiar with the show Doctor Who. Yeah, I heard a lot of good stuff about it. Let me ask you this, Jessica. What would your advice be to anyone that wants to go into the reality TV and then go on to other opportunities? What would your advice be for anyone that wants to at least get into reality TV?
Oh, Kenny, that's a great question. I am constantly fielding emails about reality television, and because not only was I on VH1 for Rock of Love and Charm School with Sharon Osbourne, but I did all of the interviews for a lot of their other dating shows where I interviewed all the contestants and got to know everybody and, get all that footage up and going. The one thing that anybody who wants to do reality TV needs to know, that you have to be very careful because you're being filmed 24 hours a day, and all of that footage is also being edited afterwards so they can, get very creative with you. So you need to remember that, you are on TV all the time, and if you do, how you end up on television may not necessarily be how you thought you would end up. So be very wary of that before you agree to do any of the TV. However, if it is something that you're really interested in doing, there is an amazing website called realitywanted.com. That's realitywanted.com. And it's basically a website that's all just castings for different reality TV shows. You can upload a profile. You can submit directly to the casting directors and to the networks. So say you want to be on Hell's Kitchen, you can go on to realitywanted.com and submit to be on any of these shows. If you're a hairdresser and you want to get on a show, there's anything that you do that they have a TV show for, you can submit for on this website. So it doesn't really matter anymore where you live. You can be in Wisconsin and still get on a show that's casting in Los Angeles because you can just upload a video and audition. And, it really is open to anybody. So it's a really great tool for people. If you're trying to parlay a reality TV career into a career in film or television, that is a very difficult beast to conquer. It is an uphill battle. It takes a lot of work, and I highly recommend you stick to your ideals and your morals and have a lot of integrity on television when you are in reality TV, because the same casting directors that are casting television and other things are, will know you from your possible reality TV reputation, so you do need to be careful there. But I would say if you want to have a good time and you want to have a very unique experience, that's the best way to do it. So, I don't regret it. I had a wonderful time. I made a lot of great friends, and, I have a lot of really funny stories from everything, so no regrets for me.
Again, I am joined with actress, model, and reality TV star Jessica Kinni here on Chilling with Jeff and Kenny C. You can follow Jessica on Twitter at Jessica Kinni, and you mentioned you have an IMBD profile as well.
I sure do.
And so check that out for what she has done up to this point, and be on the lookout for her upcoming projects, and check her out on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of good times. Now, Jessica.
Thank you, Kenny. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, and before I let you go, before we
Sure.
conclude this interview, I ask our guests to do this. It's like a station ID. It's like a voice drop. All you have to do is say your name, and right after you say your name, you say you are chilling with Jeff and Kenny C.
You got it. My name is Jessica Kinni, and you're chilling with Jeff and Kenny C.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time, Jessica. I have to say, you're one of the most fun guests I've ever had.
Thanks, Kenny. I can't wait to do it again. It was a pleasure.
Oh, you definitely are welcome to be back on whatever you feel like it.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank
All
you.
the best to everyone, and go Heat.
There you go. Thank you for your time, Jessica. You have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Jessica Kinni here on Chillin' with Jeff and Kenny C.